Let me start in California. In California, Governor Jerry Brown signed legislation aimed at taking handguns and assault rifles away from 20,000 Californians who acquired them legally but have since been disqualified from ownership because of a criminal conviction or serious mental illness. The measure, the first of several gun-related bills to reach the governor, allocates $24 million in surplus funds.
They have surplus funds in California?
California doesn't have surplus funds.
Okay.
To hire dozens of additional special agents to tackle a backlog of 40,000 weapons in the hands of people not allowed to possess firearms. The bipartisan bill makes our communities safer by giving law enforcement the resources they need to get the guns out of the potentially dangerous individuals.
Jeez.
I want to...
And, of course, you have to ask the question, who's seriously mentally ill? Who is dangerous? Who do you deem and who deems them? And what do you have to do in order to become that? Because if you just take medication, does that mean you're potentially dangerous?
Stephen King wrote in his little diatribe, Guns, by 1938, Hitler was riding high. Those laws were pretty much the same as American gun laws today. You need a permit to acquire or carry a handgun. You have to have many rifles. You could have as many rifles as you wanted, unless you were a Jew, of course. But that was the annoying thing about the Nazis, wasn't it? They killed lots of Jews, but they didn't need restrictive gun legislation to do it. It was the government that armed the killers. That seems like you'd be making our point, Stevie. One of the way a dictatorship, now I'm quoting, let me just read this. This is from page 108 in the new book Control. One of the ways dictatorships maintain their power is by disarming opponents in order to prevent resistance. Tyrants no more recognize the right to keep and bear arms than they do the right to free speech. Yet some people are either confused or in denial about how this worked in regard to Nazi Germany. Some claim that Hitler and the Nazis didn't disarm the people because gun controls were already in place before he rose to power. This is partially true. Let me show you that it was the Weimar Republic, and I have news for you. We are being fundamentally transformed, and that is exactly what happened to the Weimar Republic. It was fundamentally transformed. It didn't fall and then restart. It was transformed from the inside. They were voting in the Republic on who's going to be the next ruler, who's coming into their Congress, their parliament. And they voted the Nazis in. 30% voted for the Nazis. And then through cloak and dagger and then vote, Hitler took over. And they used all of the gun controls that had been put in there. Let me give you a little bit. The Nazi police conducted several mass searches throughout Germany. A large force of police, assisted by Nazi auxiliaries, raided a Jewish quarter in East Berlin, searching everywhere for weapons and papers. Streets were closed and pedestrians were halted. Worshippers leaving synagogues were searched, and those not carrying double identification cards were arrested. Even flower boxes were overturned and searched through houses and some printed matter, and a few weapons were seized. What they did is they went in and they started really early in 1938. The Berlin police said we're disarming the Jews, but what they did is they started back in 1928, and they were looking for how do we get the guns out of the hands of the regular people. In 28 to 31. They issued new rules. For instance, quoting from Control, they provided that license needed to be had to obtain or carry firearms, and it should be only issued to persons whose reliability is not in doubt.
Like a mentally ill person, their reliability would be in doubt.
Or somebody who might be a danger to the system. And only after proving that they needed those guns.
Nobody needs an AR-15.
Mm-hmm. And you would be prohibited if you had an inimical manner toward the state. So that would be your Tea Party people.
Uh-huh.
In 1931, Weimar had the emergency decree, again quoting from Control, authorized the German states to register all firearms, which could be confiscated if public security and order so required. The Interior Minister warned the states, listen to this, to, quote, provide secure storage of the list of persons who have registered their weapons so they would not fall into the hands of any radical element. Unfortunately, they never considered that those radical elements might be the government itself, and those lists would fall into the hands of the Nazis. According to Stephen P. Halbrook, the constitutional attorney who has done extensive research on German firearm laws, the Nazi seizure of power in 1933 was consolidated by massive searches and seizures of firearms from all political opponents who were invariably described as communists. What they did is they left it open for the Nazi Party to decree who was a danger and who wasn't. And you're seeing this already happen here in our own government. You're seeing it happen with our own media. Who's a danger? Well, it's not radical Islam. Radical Islam's not a danger. We've just arrested 4 people now in the Boston bombing. All of them went to the same mosque. All of them are Islamic extremists. And yet they're not an Islamic extremist. We don't even have a problem with that. Nobody is talking even about seriously talking about this mosque. This mosque is a radical mosque, and there are several of them. What instead we're talking about is all religion. Religions really can be very dangerous. No, there's one that has really demonstrated itself lately as being extraordinarily dangerous. Maybe we should look a little closer to that one. They have demonstrated, all religions have demonstrated, well, yes, I guess in the 1200s, yes, that's probably pretty true. Why don't we look at the one that is currently demonstrating itself to be a very dangerous organization? And let's look for the radical elements of that. And if they're radical elements, let's get rid of them. Instead, we have a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party. We are having now a hostile takeover of the Republican Party into one party, the Progressive Party. It is a revolutionary party, and they are putting the final nails of the coffin into our country. They're driving them in right now. And the media is their cheerleader. The media is documenting all the way. Look at how many specials have been done. Look how much airtime has been given in the last 4 years to paint anyone who believes in the Constitution as an extremist, who believes in small government as somebody who believes in no government, who believes in our founding fathers as nothing but racists, who wants to say, wait a minute, the spending is out of control as a true danger to our society. Now, what this president is asking for is just some simple common sense legislation that allows our attorney general to look at the lists of people and to work with inside the government to be able to see who's a radical element and who should be treated and have guns and who shouldn't have guns. If you, as an American populace, are so foolish to give that kind of power to Eric Holder or any man, I don't care if it's John Ashcroft, you are on a suicidal path and it will not survive. All you have to do is look at history. They're doing the same thing in California that the Nazis did. But California has a long, long history with the Nazis that nobody in California ever wants to admit. The California Progressive Arm, the California, the Institute for Superior People, or I don't remember what it was, but it was a eugenics program out of California. And they were deeply in bed with the Nazis. Now, no progressive will ever say that now. Oh, no, they're the Nazis. You're a Nazi. We don't like Nazis. Well, you were in bed with the Nazis. You perfected the gas chambers. American scientists were there every step of the way. American industry was there. You know why American industry loved the Nazis? Because the Nazis could make a decision quickly. And when they needed to arm themselves, when they needed to build something, they needed to make something, they needed computers. You get IBM on the phone right now, and IBM was willing to be there because that was a huge contract. Let me tell you something. There are people in Washington right now who have defended the Second Amendment, who have helped the NRA. You'd have no idea what's coming from Michael Bloomberg and the left. The assault that is coming to the American people. The money that Michael Bloomberg is putting together and the people that he has around him now, and they are slowly assembling a team, will dwarf anything the NRA has done. And here's the amazing thing. The people that used to help the NRA, used to help make the case for the Second Amendment, they are nothing but mercenaries. Many of them have left to go over and help Bloomberg. And as they leave, they say, hey, guys, sorry, but money doesn't talk, money screams. We are a nation that doesn't believe in anything anymore. The people who really, truly believe win. It only takes 10% of a population, 10% of really true believers to be able to change the world. We're true believers, but we don't even know what we believe. We can't really even make the case. And it's going to be 10% of us that make the difference between survival or disaster. And if it's a disaster, the world is plunged into darkness beyond your wildest understanding. We will pray that the mountains will fall on us and hide us. We will pray for that to happen. Instead, let us pray for strength. Let us instead accept miracles today. Let us accept and live our lives in a way to expect divine intervention. As I was sitting in this room last night and I was talking to and listening to the discussions around the table of, all these people who have given so much to the NRA. And they were talking, I heard different conversations around the table, and everybody was talking about, did you hear that, so-and-so he's over on the other side now, and he's this, and that's what's happening, blah, 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 blah. And I'm listening to all this, and I thought, man, we are so dead. I mean, what do we have? And Wayne leaned over to me, and he said, the American people are amazing, aren't they? And I said, how do you mean? And he wasn't even really listening to the conversations. He said, they're amazing. He said, I travel as much as you do, maybe even a little bit more. And he said, I talk to regular people. He said, the regular people know it. He said, the people all across America, outside of the cities, he said, they all get it. And I sat there for a minute and I thought, oh my gosh, look at this. This giant machine, this unbeatable machine is sitting here. And all we really have are the farmers. All we really have are the truck drivers. All we really have are the average mom, pop, the people that are working hard from their home every day. And I realized that's all that George Washington had as well. That's all he had. When Thomas Jefferson, when they were putting together the justice system, and they said, who are these 12 people that are going to sit on the juries? And the case was being made that it should be professors, it should be university-studied people. And he said, no, I'd rather have farmers. I want farmers. Anybody who sticks their hands in the dirt, anybody who really works for a living and works hard, they have just something, there's something in them that hasn't died. There's something in them where they understand truth and they can see clearly. I'd rather be judged by a farmer. And that's why we have regular people sitting on a jury. Just regular people. And I'm telling you, that's all we have. We don't have the power structures. We don't have the parties. We don't have anything. We have what matters. The average American. And if we can get 10% to really commit to what they really believe in and just say, I'm with you, brother. To the end, I'm with you. I don't care what they do to me. I will not falter. I will not fail. You can pick up Control. It's available in bookstores everywhere. It makes the case much better than I just did on history. Control, the truth about guns, available in bookstores everywhere. I want to tell you a little.